Zelda is one of the most franchises in video game history. There's no debating that. So many games that have touched so many people. I mean, hey, name your favorite Zelda game right now. Say it out loud, even type it in the comments. Reply to 2 friends for extra credit. I'll go first. My favorite Zelda of all time is freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. You might be wondering, nice joke there, Limity. Real funny, real cute. You made up a game for the bit. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately for you, I did not. Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land is a real RPG that was released in 2006 for the DS as a Europe and Japan exclusive. Now, I was only 2 years old when this game came out, but little did I know that playing this odd spin-off on my pink DS Lite while my parents yelled about it would be some of my fondest childhood memories. It's charming, often beautiful, makes weird choices at times, and is definitely flawed. But today, my friends, we will be talking about this game not just from my nostalgia-fueled passion, but looking into some of its interesting game design choices, as this is a game dev channel after all. Let's take a look at the best, worst Zelda game, freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. Summary of what this game even is for the completely uninitiated. It's a 2D top-down pixel art RPG where you step into the role of Tingle, our favorite map salesman who was first introduced to the franchise in Majora's Mask. You start in what's known as the hometown prairie, the classic foresty location where you always start a Zelda game. Tingle sits in his house doing nothing, average unemployed behavior. But then something, a voice perhaps, calls to him and he makes his way to the pool west of his house to meet Uncle Rupee.
Hello! I like money!
Uncle Rupee presents the bored, jobless Tingle with an opportunity. Tingle provides rupees to the western pool, and he can eventually reach Rupee Land, a place where all of his wildest fantasies can come true. Now, you might be wondering, this uncle guy seems kind of suspicious, and you're probably right that he's at the top of a pyramid scheme. But as any unemployed would, Tingle takes the offer, and he is transformed to begin his adventure. Now, in most RPGs, the main way you die is by running out of health. Your health bar gets to 0, you die. But in Tingle, I would argue it's more accurate to real life, because in this game, you only die if you run out of money. That's right, if your rupee count reaches 0, you're dead. I like to think that Uncle Rupee has like a nerve gear type system where it's attached to the back of Tingle's head, and if he runs out of rupees, it just fries his brain. From a game design perspective, I actually find this to be a very interesting take on health. It's almost like every time the player takes a risk in game, they have to think about the literal cost of their action.
I'm not asking you for a large financial contribution.
You could argue that's basically how health works anyways, but I would argue a counterpoint is that in most games, you can't buy things with your health. Because in Tingle, you literally buy your progression. Like I said earlier, your goal is to throw rupees into the western pool. And this makes a magical tower grow from the ground that you're supposed to jump off of. What's happening? Oh, that's glitched the fuck out on my end. Whoa! Don't worry, you have a balloon. It's just the higher the tower, the further you can travel across 3 continents. So to get the money to grow the tower, there's a few ways. Some of which include defeating enemies, marking landmarks on maps as this is Tingle after all, and helping NPCs, doing them favors, fixing intergenerational blended family drama, etc. But before we proceed any further, we should probably get into the main mechanic of Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, and one of the most interesting design choices. Now, when you go to a store, here's how it usually works, for those of you who didn't know. Hello, can I have this object, please?
Yeah, let me just scan it for you.
Okay, so how much is it?
Guess.
What?
Guess.
What do you mean, guess?
Just guess.
Okay, like 10 bucks?
You don't get your object and I'm keeping this.
What do you mean? That literally makes no sense. That's not how this works.
You can always pay more and try again.
Okay, fine. $11?
You absolute buffoon.
Trust me, this is how stores actually work, guys, at least according to this game. Because let's say you're trying to get into town, or getting rewarded for something, or even just trying to get someone to talk to you. If you do not guess the correct amount, more than the threshold if you're paying them, and less if they're paying you, then they will just straight up not give you anything. And like I demonstrated, if you're paying them, sometimes they will still take your money and then you still don't get anything if it's not enough. Is this the first circle of hell, or is it just late stage capitalism?
Mark, give me the Zata.
When I do my tri-yearly replay of this game, I usually have a guide pulled up on a spreadsheet. I'm sorry. You'd think it would ruin the experience to have a tutorial handy, and it is not the intended way you play the game. Honestly, I think this could be a whole video topic on its own, so give your thoughts in the comments below. In most games, you could theoretically beat an enemy without taking any damage at all. I mean, we're all godlike gamers in the chat, right? 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 But in Tingle, like I mentioned earlier, you have to weigh your risk, because you have to take damage when you enter an enemy encounter. Battles are like this cartoony dust cloud that you get into, where you have to spam the stylus as fast as possible. This is so you defeat the enemy faster, take less damage, and hopefully recoup some of your lost money and a bit extra. But some enemies can get pretty strong, so how do you balance this? Well, in most RPGs, you have armors or weapons, but no, not in Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. All Tingle has is his tiny little fists. And remember, this guy is kind of a bum. This is where the bodyguards come in. Want this All Might looking eye to keep you safe and sound? Or a random snot-nosed child? Or even... yeah, you best believe I pick this baddie every time. Each level in Tingle has the bodyguard saloon somewhere in it, and this is where you can pick from 3 potential hires to help you defeat enemies. You do still have to guess how much these guys cost. Thankfully, you only lose out on the saloon commission though if you get it wrong. I personally think the bodyguards are an interesting mechanic to add to the game. Definitely not the most developed feature, but honestly, I just love it in games when a little guy follows your character around. I'm sorry. Also, depending on their personality, you have to chase them down while you're in the battle because they don't do- come on, drop. Why is he walking away? And yeah, once they run out of health, you also have to pay the full price again to get them back. Does this mean everyone in the universe's health is based off rupees? Where do the rupees begin and we end? Am I a rupee? Are you a rupee? Combat is not only limited to this. Of course, like any good RPG, we have dungeons and bosses. And let me tell you, the dungeons in this game, they're charming, I will say. Honestly, I think they get better throughout the game. They're pretty linear and very classic Zelda. They're always themed and with a lot of puzzles. My personal favorite dungeon is when you go into the Deku Tree's, and you have to defeat this
Horrifying eldritch monstrosity.
bosses in this game are so scary. I don't even know who designed this. Like, what is going on? What is this one? What is this? What is going on? This is complete nightmare fuel. But at least every time you defeat a boss, you get a big lump sum of cash and a concussion or a super rupee. The big lump sum of change that you get is the main calcium that you need to help your tower grow big and strong. Really skimmed into that one. Speaking of getting rupees, I should probably talk to you about that mapping thing that I mentioned earlier. At each new level, you have to track down Caillou's evil twin brother, and he'll sell you a map of that area. Then it's your job to find the landmarks around the level and circle them to draw them on your map. When it's done, you can take it into town and mooch off this old lady for every penny she's worth. Once you do all the maps in the whole game, she dies. I personally find this mechanic really satisfying. I think it's fun to draw them on the map. This also obviously ties Tingle's whole mapping thing into the game. The last major thing I want to talk about in this game is the art style. I'm not gonna lie, yes, I told you about the horrifying boss designs from earlier, but to be honest, there's something really charming about the way this game looks. I don't know, I just really like the vibe of the characters and the environments. Now, what I think might be fun is if we do a lightning round of all these random little things in the game that I want to tell you about but don't deserve their own category. Let's go. You can cook in this game. The way you mix ingredients with the stylus is a really cute mini game. It's kind of stressful though. Next, there's gambling. 3. There's a random man living inside a jar in Continent 2. What is he doing there? Is he okay? Is he okay? Does he need help? Is he okay? Next, the best level in the whole game in my opinion is the fairy garden, where you have to find a ton of different objects around the map to restore the fairies, and you get to ride a sand hoverboard. Next, if you manage to collect all of the secret rupee good items throughout the whole game, go to the final level and enter the room on the right. You will find Pinkle, your pink companion from the entire game. And for freeing her from her prison from Uncle Rupee, she gives you a very special surprise. I've played this game at so many different phases of my life. Even with some of its more interesting design decisions, I highly recommend it if you like top-down RPGs and just want like a lighthearted fun experience. And personally, my key takeaway from Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land is that a game doesn't have to be perfect, not even close, to still mean a lot to those that play it. Have you ever heard of this game? Let me know in the comments. Also, did you know that probably negative 0.5% of you are subscribed because this is only my second video? Please subscribe and join the Mini Nation from the Discord server below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.